In the frozen Arctic, hidden beneath layers of ice and snow, lay a secret facility. This place was not just any building. It was a home for Earth's strongest warriors, the super soldiers. For years, they had been asleep, preserved in cryo-sleep, waiting for a time when humanity would need them again. Little did they know that their time had come, but the world above was not as they remembered it. The alien forces had descended upon Earth, ruthless and powerful. They unleashed destruction like nothing humanity had ever seen. Cities crumbled and millions perished. The hope of humanity was fading, but deep in the Arctic there was still a chance. The facility had a distress signal, a final call for help that echoed through the cold silence. It was weak but persistent, a beacon of hope in a dark world. Inside the facility, a bright light flashed, signaling the awakening of the super soldiers. Commander Drake was the first to rise. His eyes opened slowly, adjusting to the bright lights above. He felt disoriented, but as his memory returned, anger filled him. What happened to Earth, he thought. He quickly scanned the room, and one by one his comrades awakened. They shook off the sleep, confusion mixed with determination in their eyes. As the soldiers gathered, Commander Drake took charge. "Listen up! We have been in sleep while our world was destroyed. We have to find out what happened and fight back." The others nodded, their faces set with resolve. They were ready for battle. They quickly learned how much the world had changed. The monitors showed images of devastation, burned cities, ruined landscapes, and the alien ships that now dominated the skies. It was worse than they imagined. Humanity had been all but wiped out, and the aliens were everywhere. "We cannot let this continue," Drake declared, clenching his fists. "We are the last hope for humanity. We have the skills and strength to fight back." The super soldiers trained for war began to strategize. They remembered their training and the missions they had completed together. They were not just soldiers. They were the best of the best, built to defend humanity. The soldiers moved quickly through the facility, testing their gear and weapons. They found advanced technology left behind from their previous missions, weapons that glowed with power. Drake led them through the training rooms, reminding them of their skills. "Remember how to fight. We must be stronger than ever before." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. An alien scouting party had landed nearby. The soldiers froze for a moment, fear creeping in. They had been asleep for so long, could they still fight? But as they looked at each other, confidence surged through them. "We have to act now," Drake shouted. The super soldiers quickly prepared for battle. They donned their combat gear and grabbed their weapons. "This is our home, and we will protect it," Drake shouted, rallying his troops. They took their positions, ready to defend their last stronghold. As the aliens approached, the soldiers could see their strange, towering figures moving through the snow. The aliens seemed confident, believing they could easily overpower whatever remained of humanity. But they were wrong. The super soldiers sprang into action. They launched a surprise attack, utilizing the environment to their advantage. They moved swiftly through the snow, using their training to set traps and ambush the alien scouts. The aliens were caught off guard, their arrogance turning to panic as the super soldiers fought back fiercely. The battle was intense, with explosions ringing out and shouts echoing through the Arctic. The soldiers fought with everything they had, their skills sharp from years of training. They worked together, protecting one another and striking hard against their foes. As the dust settled, the alien scouts lay defeated, a testament to the super soldiers' strength and resilience. Drake looked around at his comrades, pride swelling in his chest. "We did it! This is just the beginning. We are humanity's last hope, and we will fight until our last breath." With renewed determination, the super soldiers prepared for the battles to come. The world above was waiting, and they were ready to reclaim it. After their victory against the alien scouts, the super soldiers felt a surge of hope. But they knew this was just the beginning. The real fight lay ahead, and they needed to be ready. Commander Drake gathered the team in the main training room of the Arctic facility. The walls were lined with advanced technology, and the air was thick with determination. "Listen up," Drake said, his voice strong and clear. "We've just defeated a small group of aliens, but there are many more out there. We have to train hard and be ready for anything. We cannot let our guard down." The soldiers nodded, feeling the weight of his words. They understood the stakes. Their world depended on them. The first day of training was intense. The soldiers went through physical drills to regain their strength and speed. They ran through obstacle courses, climbed walls, and practiced hand-to-hand combat. The snow outside was cold, but their determination warmed them. They pushed each other to do better, shouting words of encouragement. Each soldier remembered why they were there, to protect what was left of humanity. As the days passed, they also worked on their teamwork. They practiced strategies for ambushes and defensive maneuvers. They created plans to outsmart the aliens, who were often larger and more powerful. The super soldiers learned to use the terrain to their advantage, hiding in the snow and moving silently. They became a unit, understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses. One afternoon, they took a break to discuss their weapons. They examined the advanced technology that had been left behind. Some weapons had features they had never seen before, including energy shields and laser rifles. "We need to master these," Drake insisted. "These weapons could turn the tide in our favor." The soldiers eagerly picked up the weapons, testing their weight and feel. They felt empowered, ready to take on any challenge. As the training progressed, the super soldiers faced a series of simulations designed to prepare them for real battles. These simulations used holograms to create alien forces that the soldiers had to fight against. The soldiers fought hard, learning to adapt quickly to the aliens' tactics. They trained in various environments, from icy terrain to dark, enclosed spaces. During one intense training session, they faced a particularly challenging simulation. An overwhelming number of alien warriors appeared, forcing the soldiers to think fast. They had to work together, using their training to hold their ground. "Stay focused! Watch your flanks!" Drake shouted. The soldiers communicated, coordinating their attacks and defenses. It was a chaotic battle, but they emerged victorious, feeling a rush of adrenaline. After a long day of training, the soldiers gathered around a fire in the common room. They shared stories, memories of their lives before the war. Laughter filled the air, but a sense of seriousness lingered. They knew they were fighting for more than just themselves. They were fighting for the future of humanity. Drake looked around at his comrades. "We are more than just soldiers. We are a family. Together we can take on any enemy." His words resonated with the soldiers, strengthening their bond. They shared their fears and hopes, creating a sense of unity that would carry them through the challenges ahead. As the days turned into weeks, their training intensified. They faced mock battles and learned to think strategically under pressure. They prepared for the worst, hoping for the best. Each soldier began to feel the power within them grow. One day, after a particularly tough training session, Drake gathered everyone outside. "Today we test our skills in the real world," he announced. "We've tracked an alien supply convoy heading towards their base. We will ambush them and take what we need." The soldiers felt excitement and nerves mix in their stomachs. This would be their first real mission since waking up. As they prepared for the mission, the soldiers knew that everything they had trained for was about to become reality. They were ready to face the aliens head-on and prove that humanity would not go down without a fight. The Arctic wind blew cold against their skin, but their hearts burned with the fire of hope. They were determined to reclaim their world and fight for the future of humanity. The day had come for the super soldiers to put their training to the test. The air was crisp and cold, the sun barely rising over the white landscape. Commander Drake gathered his team outside the facility, their faces determined and ready. They were about to launch their first real mission against the alien forces. "Today we face our enemy," Drake shouted, his voice ringing with conviction. "We have trained hard for this moment. We know the enemy's tactics and we are ready to fight back. Remember our mission. We ambush the alien supply convoy, take their weapons, and show them we are not defeated." The soldiers nodded, adrenaline pumping through their veins. They checked their gear, feeling the weight of their weapons and the energy of their resolve. They moved quietly through the snow, staying low and blending into the white landscape. They had spent days studying maps and learning the routes of the alien convoy, and now it was time to put that knowledge into action. As they approached the ambush site, they could see the outline of the alien vehicles in the distance. The convoy moved slowly, unaware of the danger lurking in the snow. Drake signaled for the team to spread out, taking their positions behind snowdrifts and rocks. Each soldier felt a mix of excitement and fear. They knew this battle would test everything they had trained for. "Stay focused," Drake whispered, his eyes on the convoy. "Wait for my signal." The convoy was getting closer. The aliens appeared relaxed, believing they were safe. But the super soldiers had different plans. They could hear the rumbling of the vehicles and the chatter of the alien soldiers inside. With one final deep breath, Drake raised his hand, signaling the attack. "Now," he shouted. The super soldiers sprang into action. They erupted from their hiding spots, charging at the convoy with fierce determination. The element of surprise was on their side. Drake led the charge, his energy shield glowing brightly as he deflected incoming shots from the aliens. The rest of the team followed closely, using their weapons to return fire. The aliens were caught off guard. They scrambled to react, but the super soldiers were quick and efficient. They moved like a well-oiled machine, coordinating their attacks and taking down enemy soldiers with precision. The snow was soon stained with the colors of battle, but the soldiers pressed on, fueled by their mission. One soldier, Maria, had a knack for stealth. She climbed to a higher vantage point, spotting an alien officer directing the convoy. "I can take him out!" she yelled to Drake, her rifle steady. "Just give me the word!" "Do it!" Drake shouted. With a single shot, Maria eliminated the officer. The remaining aliens began to panic, realizing they were under attack. The super soldiers pressed their advantage, pushing the aliens back and dismantling the convoy. Explosions rang out as they destroyed supply vehicles, capturing weapons and ammunition that would help them in future battles. In the midst of the chaos, an alien commander emerged from the rear vehicle. He was larger and more menacing than the others, his armor shining in the low light. Drake felt a surge of fear but quickly pushed it aside. This was their moment to prove their worth. "Stay together," he shouted to his team. "We take him down!" The soldiers surrounded the commander, their weapons aimed and ready. The alien fought fiercely, using advanced technology to strike back. The battle turned intense as the soldiers engaged him, dodging his attacks and countering with their own. They worked as a unit, each one covering the other. Drake saw an opening and charged forward. With a swift strike, he disarmed the alien commander. The commander staggered back, but before he could regroup, the super soldiers closed in. Together, they took him down, their teamwork proving stronger than the alien's power. As the last alien fell, a sense of victory filled the air. The super soldiers stood together, breathing heavily but smiling with triumph. They had faced their enemy and emerged victorious. The convoy was theirs, and they had shown the aliens that humanity would not be easily defeated. Drake looked around at his comrades, pride swelling in his chest. "We did it! We showed them what we are capable of." The soldiers cheered, their spirits high. They had won their first battle, but they knew this was just the beginning. The war was far from over and many challenges lay ahead. But for now, they had struck a powerful blow against their alien enemies, and hope for humanity's future burned brighter than ever. After their hard-fought victory in the Arctic, the super soldiers returned to their base, filled with a mix of pride and determination. They had taken down an alien convoy and seized valuable weapons, but they knew this was just one battle in a much larger war. Commander Drake gathered everyone in the main conference room to discuss their next steps. As the soldiers settled into their seats, Drake scanned their faces. "We did well out there," he began, "but we can't let our success blind us. The aliens will retaliate, and we need a plan that can keep us ahead of them." The room fell silent. Each soldier felt the weight of their responsibility. They had fought bravely, but the threat of the alien forces still loomed large. Drake turned on the holographic projector, displaying a map of the surrounding area. Red dots marked alien bases, and lines showed possible attack routes. "Here's what we know," he said, pointing to the map. "The aliens have multiple supply routes and bases nearby. Our next target needs to be their main base, located here." He highlighted a particularly large red dot. "If we can take this out, it will cripple their operations." The soldiers leaned in, their interest piqued. Maria, the sharpshooter from the previous mission, raised her hand. "But how do we get in? It's heavily guarded, right?" Drake nodded. "Exactly. We need to create a diversion. While a smaller team distracts the guards, the main unit can slip inside and take out their command center." "Who's on the diversion team?" asked Sam, another soldier known for his quick thinking. Drake smiled. "That's where we need to be clever. We'll use the alien technology we captured to create fake signals and noises. We can make them think they're under attack from another direction. While they focus on that, our main team will move in silently." The soldiers exchanged glances, excitement growing. They knew this plan had potential. "When do we start?" asked Maria eagerly. "Tonight," Drake replied. "We'll gather our gear and split into teams. The diversion team will head out first, setting up the fake signals. The rest of us will follow a few hours later. As the soldiers prepared for their mission, a sense of unity filled the air. They packed their gear, ensuring they had everything they needed. The gravity of the upcoming battle weighed on them, but they were ready to face it together. Hours later, the sun began to set, casting a beautiful orange glow over the Arctic landscape. The soldiers moved stealthily through the snow, the cold air biting at their skin. As they approached the alien base, they took their positions. Drake looked at his team, their faces serious and determined. "Remember, stay quiet and stick to the plan," he reminded them. "We're counting on each other." The diversion team, consisting of Maria, Sam, and 2 other soldiers, set off to create chaos. They moved swiftly, planting devices that would emit false signals. As they worked, they heard alien voices nearby. Their hearts raced, but they stayed focused. "Ready?" Maria whispered, holding her breath. "Let's do it," Sam replied, pressing a button on one of the devices. Suddenly, loud noises erupted from behind the base, startling the alien guards. The distraction worked. The soldiers watched as the guards ran toward the source of the commotion. "Now's our chance!" Drake shouted, signaling for the main team to move forward. The main unit crept toward the base, their hearts pounding with excitement. They entered through a side door, careful to avoid detection. The interior was dimly lit, and the air was thick with tension. Drake led the way, using a map of the base to navigate their path. As they approached the command center, they heard voices. Drake signaled for the team to stop. They listened as alien officers discussed their plans. "They won't stand a chance against us," one officer said, laughing. Drake's eyes narrowed. "We need to move quickly," he whispered. "We can't let them call for reinforcements." The soldiers nodded, adrenaline surging through them. They prepared their weapons and took a deep breath. This was it, the moment they had trained for. With a fierce determination, they charged into the command center, ready to change the tide of the war. With a sudden burst of energy, they faced their enemy, knowing that victory could change everything for humanity. They were no longer just survivors. They were warriors, fighting for their future. The tension in the command center was thick as the super soldiers burst through the door, weapons raised and ready. The alien officers turned in shock, their eyes widening in fear. Drake led the charge, his heart pounding with adrenaline. This was their chance to turn the tide of the war and show the aliens that humanity would not back down. "Take them down!" Drake shouted, his voice echoing through the room. The soldiers opened fire, their shots finding their targets. The alien officers scrambled for cover, but they were no match for the trained humans. Maria quickly took out the first officer with a precise shot, her aim steady even under pressure. "Keep moving!" Drake commanded. The soldiers advanced, pushing deeper into the command center. They moved with purpose, working as a team to flank the aliens and eliminate any threats. The room was filled with the sounds of gunfire and explosions, but the super soldiers pressed on. In the chaos, Sam spotted a control panel at the back of the room. "If I can access their systems, we can shut down their defenses," he yelled to Drake. "Do it!" Drake replied, covering Sam as he rushed to the panel. Sam worked quickly, typing in commands while keeping an eye on their surroundings. The aliens were starting to regroup, but the super soldiers were relentless. As Sam typed furiously, he felt the weight of the moment. This was their opportunity to strike a blow against the invaders. He could hear the commotion behind him, and he knew that every second counted. "Almost there!" he called out, sweat beading on his forehead. Just as Sam finished entering the last command, alarms blared throughout the command center. Red lights flashed, casting an eerie glow on the faces of the soldiers. "I did it! Their defenses are down!" Sam shouted, a triumphant smile on his face. "Good job! Now let's finish this!" Drake said, rallying the soldiers. They moved forward, feeling a surge of confidence. With the aliens disoriented and their defenses weakened, the super soldiers took full advantage. Drake spotted the main control room door at the end of the corridor. "That's where we'll find their leader!" he shouted, leading the charge. They pushed through, ready to confront the heart of the alien operation. Inside the control room, they found the alien commander, a tall figure with dark armor and a menacing presence. He sneered at the humans, arrogance shining in his eyes. "You think you can defeat us? You are nothing," he roared. Drake stepped forward, unafraid. "We are more than you think," he replied firmly. "We are humanity, and we will fight for our home." With that, the battle began. The alien commander wielded advanced technology, firing powerful blasts at the soldiers. Drake ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding the attacks. The rest of the team spread out, flanking the commander and using the environment to their advantage. Maria climbed onto a ledge, taking aim at the commander from above. "I have a clear shot," she shouted, her heart racing with anticipation. "Take it!" Drake yelled. With perfect precision, Maria fired her shot. It hit the commander squarely in the shoulder, staggering him back. The commander growled in pain and anger, but he was not finished yet. He unleashed a wave of energy that knocked several soldiers off their feet. Drake quickly rallied his team. "Get back up! We can't let him win!" he shouted, determination burning in his eyes. The soldiers regrouped, adrenaline pumping through their veins. They charged the commander again, fighting with everything they had. As the battle raged on, the super soldiers began to overwhelm the alien commander. They worked together, covering each other's backs and exploiting every weakness they could find. Slowly, the commander faltered, his strength waning. Finally, with one last effort, Drake lunged forward, landing a decisive blow. The commander fell to the ground, defeated. The super soldiers stood over him, breathless but triumphant. "We did it!" Sam shouted, raising his weapon in victory. Drake looked at his team, pride swelling in his chest. "This is just the beginning. We have shown the aliens that humanity is strong and unyielding. They will think twice before underestimating us again." With their spirits high, the super soldiers prepared to leave the command center. They had struck back, and the fight for humanity's survival was far from over. But in that moment, they knew they had taken a powerful step toward victory, reclaiming hope for their world.